I guess he had to get one little more pot shot off at me in this. Haha, it doesn't matter. Even if he were to replace my job with robots, I'd still have a degree. It would make even more money than I am now by the time they were implemented. Besides, there are some robots in automated stations where I work and have been there since the 1960s. They aren't replacing them for anything newer. It still needs human workers because it would be insanely expensive, and most of the companies don't have money for automation. Not relevant. Relevancy, objection, relevancy. If even one company in the whole world has money for automation, they can finance in the economies of scale that will. Huh, I'm gonna deal with this, and this is the final answer to you and your shit. But I don't want your fucking response because I don't care anymore. Haha. It doesn't matter. Even if you were even to replace my job with robots and automation, I'd still have a degree and make even more money than I am now by the time they were implemented. Besides, there are some robots and automated stations where I work that have been there since the 1960s, and they aren't replacing them for anything newer. And it still needs human workers because it would be insanely expensive, and companies don't have money for automation. It would literally be cheaper to pay people to pay us as they do now, to pay people what they pay us now. And my younger brother has a degree and is a robot programmer for a different company, and he laughed at your presumptuous bullshit and says most companies won't phase out workers into its way because it's way more expensive than you think for implementation and maintenance. And that full stop was the biggest load of horseshit that I've ever heard. Because I had a father who worked in the tech industry, and now let me tell you how it really is. If there is even one company in the entire world that uses robots, they will eventually finance in what it takes to knock the prices down until they're affordable for every other company in the world. That's the thing. The rich pay for the economies of scale. The early adopters finance in the technology that eventually builds the economies of scale, and then prices come down until everybody is able to afford them. That's how it's always worked in the tech space. So your brother can have a degree, but apparently he doesn't understand how the flow of technology actually tends to operate in the world. It doesn't take anything more than one company across the entire planet using them until they knock the price down for everybody. I'm flattered that you're such a baby dick little cuck who's so scared of bullying that you want to place the blame on people for trying to make a living and feeding their families with these factory jobs, that you'd make it a life goal to eliminate these people for single-handedly, which is childish, psychotic, and shows how egotistical you are that despite being an low-skilled person with no accomplishments, you somehow think you can do this, kill jobs out of spite, and that you can ruin the chances for employment or getting any sort of business deals with anybody if an employer saw this. And no, an HR rep calling you about a driver job for Amazon who didn't even vet you because you didn't take the job offer doesn't count. And full stop. First of all, with my company, I own the company. So I am management, and I am HR, and I am all those departments rolled into one as the single owner of the company. It doesn't matter if all of the companies in America consider me somebody that is so incredibly childish and mean and cruel and nasty and psychotic that I am unhireable swine, that will never be employable and will never have the skills to be employed at a major company because guess what? I don't need them. So, because of the fact that I own the company, and I only am hitched onto Amazon as the third party who owns the company that makes the deals with, EE Distro and all that stuff behind the scenes and whatnot. It doesn't matter if no company in the entire world will hire me because I can make money independently of all of them. So, good on you on that. And your little attempt to debunk what I had to say is complete bullshit. And your brother being a robot programmer is kind of funny because he doesn't realize that was a naked appeal to the authority of somebody in the company. He's wrong, for the record. Robot prices will not be high forever. So those prices are going to start falling, and when they do, my revenge will be complete. Being an inept, low-skilled person with no accomplishments. See, this is just it. This is the central point that I've finally gotten sick of. People like you, when this debate started and when these feuds started, they started trying to lecture me and trying to tell me that I didn't have a right to have a political opinion because I hadn't earned it. They told me that I needed to work and have a job and climb the corporate ladder to earn their respect so that I would have a right to have a political opinion that they would care about. And I just said, fuck you. I will have my perspective on reality independently of all of that. You don't want to listen to me, and you're trying to tell me that you won't listen to me because of the fact that I am this way, and I'm done. You know, I know the things that I know about the economy because that's how I spend my free time as a hobbyist studying things. And just because I don't have a degree in them doesn't mean I don't know anything about the fucking world that I live in. In fact, because of the fact that I'm not majorly employed, I have far more time to study the world I live in and the history of the world that I live in than anybody who has to spend the rest of all their time fucking slaving away in the rat race. I've had more time to explore the world and get to know it independently of having a job than any of you have. And frankly, I know more about politics because I haven't had to spend most of my time slaving away at a blue collar job. So, I can appreciate aspects of politics that somebody that has had to spend most of their time at work would never even know about or have the knowledge of politics to even understand because they didn't have the time to study it or to know it. So, my perspective, because I've had more time to study the political process, is actually more inherently more valid than all you fucking slaves who have had to spend all of your fucking time, slaving away at corporate America. So my perspective on American politics is more valid than all of them. And you want to tell me that I have to earn the right to have a perspective, and it's the same bullshit that enrages me, because you do the same shit to Twitter. Is completely filled with people like Alyssa Milano, for instance, having a political opinion, and people telling her that you're a celebrity and you have no right to a political opinion. They tell her to shut up and get back to acting. And America is filled with that kind of filthy fucking perspective. I mean, it's everywhere you look. It's in every angle, and they'll tell foreigners that they don't want their perspective on American politics because they don't live here and that's not relevant and they can't. And they'll try to bully them like the assholes most Americans are. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but most Americans are assholes. I mean, I'm not sorry to say it because it's the truth. Most of you are fucking assholes, and you're proud of being assholes, which is even more cringe. You can kill jobs out of spite, and you doing this can ruin chances for employment or getting any sort of business deals with anybody. If an employer saw this, and no, I don't care if an employer sees this because employers are not relevant anymore. They're not a relevant factor in my world anymore. So go ahead, go run along, report me to the companies for saying it, that I'm killing jobs out of spite, but I don't care. I spite you for trying to behave this way and tell me that you're better than me because you have a job. So killing it, I'm not sorry. I look forward to the robots replacing you, and your brother is wrong. So have a miserable fucking life, Guerrilla Warfare X. And with that, I am basically going to go watch TV because fuck you. Because fuck you. This is the final stupid. Your brother's wrong. It's a naked appeal to authority. Your brother's wrong. If even one company in America, one company in the world is using robots, they'll end up knocking the price down for everybody. No, not relevant.